I love eating in Penang. It has all the familiar flavors that you might recognize from other parts of Malaysia, but with a local twist that is uniquely its own. It is vibrant, it's cosmopolitan, it's traditional, and it's modern all at the same time. And in my opinion, the food scene makes Penang worthy of a visit all by itself. My name is Josh, and I'm a digital nomad who lives in a different country every single month. Join me as I taste a little bit of everything within the diverse and delicious food scene of Penang, Malaysia, and its historical capital city of Georgetown. If you've been following along with my recent Southeast Asia videos, you already know that I love Char Kway Teow. I think that this is like the third time I've mentioned it. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that Char Kway Teow has become one of my favorite dishes in the entire world. And you know what? Penang might just make it better than anywhere else. Char Kway Teow is a glass noodle dish prepared in a wok. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's savory, it's not too heavy, but it's filling. I mean, honestly, it's perfect. And in Penang, you can get a street food version that is quite literally certified by Michelin for its quality and value. I am talking about Siam Road Char Kway Teow. It's a simple stall that's a bit deeper into Georgetown, away from some of the most famous tourist attractions. So if you want to eat here, you'll have to be intentional about it. But trust me, it's worth seeking out. It's basically all prepared within one street food cart, but with an entire brick and mortar restaurant with servers and everything that sort of just sits behind it. The line is long, always, but thanks to the setup, you get to watch the chef just masterfully crafting the dish right in front of your eyes as you wait. Honestly, give yourself the time to enjoy it, because the show is worth the price by itself. It isn't often that you get to see a master craftsman at work like this. He's easily made this dish thousands upon thousands of times, and it's beautiful to witness. And it goes without saying that the food itself is, of course, incredible. Penang's version of the dish really leans into the smokiness of the noodles, which I really love. It's not as sweet as some other versions, but it's totally just full of flavor, and it's an absolute delight. And eating this was probably one of my favorite parts of my entire trip to Penang. Love this stuff. And you know what's crazy? These are not even the only Michelin guide noodles I ate while in Penang. The fact that you can go to a tiny little island in Malaysia and eat multiple Michelin meals for a great price genuinely is a big part of what makes visiting Penang so amazing. Tok Tok Mi Bamboo Noodle is a Cantonese style Michelin rated noodle joint that is super traditional and super delicious. It's much more accessible than Siam Road Char Kway Teow because it's pretty walkable from many of the major tourist sites within Georgetown proper. It's super unassuming on the inside, which honestly is how you know that it's the real deal. I ordered the dry version of the barbecue pork tok mi, which isn't their most famous dish, but it was fantastic nonetheless. I have always had great experiences with barbecue pork in authentic Cantonese style restaurants, and this was no exception. Most people will probably choose to order their classic dish, which includes their soup noodles and wontons. I had something similar at another Michelin approved noodle shop back on my trip to Hong Kong about a year ago. And so if you haven't yet had the chance to try a proper Cantonese soup noodle dish for yourself, I'd recommend choosing the classic wontons on your first visit. They don't take reservations and they only accept cash, so make sure you come prepared with a little extra time in case there's a line. The noodles altogether go crazy in Penang, and I definitely had my fair share of them, but I also added in a little bit of hometown flair to my selections as well that I think you're going to enjoy. Okay, now I'll be the first to admit that not everyone is like this, but sometimes I want to visit a restaurant for the ambiance more so than the food itself. Now, whenever I do that on YouTube, I get local backlash. People telling me that I stumbled into a tourist trap or that it's not authentic cuisine, blah, 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 blah. You know what? That doesn't bother me, because personally, I think building a great food trip is all about balance. You can, in fact, have it all, people. And I really think that you do need to mix up your meals and your flavor profiles on a trip in order to keep things interesting. And to me, the Junk Cafe is a great example of really interesting and beautiful cultural ambiance that also serves quality drinks and classic food. Clearly, I'm a fan. And I mean, this might be cheesy, some will definitely call it touristy, but I recommend it nonetheless. It's called the Junk Cafe because the term junk refers to an ancient Chinese style sailing ship, which is especially iconic in port cities like Hong Kong, and even Penang. On the whole, the theme of the space sort of represents the idea of a junk and the cultural experiences that a sailor aboard a vessel like this might acquire throughout their travels in Asia. It's a space that really tells a story, and I love that. I ordered the full of junk burger along with some sweet potato fries, because sweet potato fries are one of life's great simple pleasures, and we were off to the races. Now, I'm not a huge burger guy in general, but I do think that I start to crave a burger in my international travels, like, I don't know, maybe once a month or so. And as a result, I've had the chance to try the different ways that people prepare and enjoy burgers all over the world. And I can say that this one is really good. It's not the best burger that I have ever had. However, coupled with the convenient location in Georgetown and the really fun ambiance, I would absolutely recommend getting a meal and a pint here with some friends after a day of exploration. And if just one pint isn't enough, I actually have a separate recommendation for a brewery that you have to try. Beer and bread are just so universally enjoyable. I mean, I feel like we need to appreciate beer and bread a little bit more for just being a part of our lives. And you know what? I've got some of each in Penang for you. If you want a great craft brewery, I recommend that you visit Momokaka. It has the cutest logo I've ever seen in my entire life. This like cheeky, chubby little demon is freaking adorable and I love him. And I really have to say that the beer I tried here is some of my favorite that I've ever had. Now I know that sounds dramatic, but I really mean it. This was great. It's also located right next to Armenian Street, which is probably the most famous tourist street in all of Georgetown. And so at some point in your trip, you definitely will be in this area shopping for souvenirs. So definitely grab a drink at Momokaka if you can. Now, when it comes to bread or just baked goods in general, please, you have to visit the Rainforest Bakery. Okay, not to be confused with global icon Rainforest Cafe. I was introduced to the Rainforest Bakery through their cinnamon bread, which was actually provided to me for free at my hotel. So that totally tipped me off to the quality of their food before I even started exploring Penang at all. And then later on, I actually went to the store myself and decided to try their cake. Now, I know that some people don't like the word moist, but I do feel that it is necessary here. Moist and caked up, baby! Just the way I like it. Anyway, yeah, so definitely worth the visit. Penang in general is very much worth the visit. It has got so much to offer no matter what kind of a traveler you are. And that is particularly exemplified through its incredible and delicious food scene. Friends, if you've made it all the way until the end of this video, that means you are one of the good ones, and I have a special announcement just for you. For the first time ever, I have launched my own official merchandise, a hat, a t-shirt, and a crew neck, and I wanted you to be the first to know. It is linked down in the description below, and I would love to see some of you wearing it. DM me your pics wearing the merch, and I'll be sure to shout it out here and on Instagram. I love you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and watch this video next, okay?